guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about exam day test tips. If you are sitting for the American Health Information Management Association or the American Academy of Professional Coder exams. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, so it is the big day and you are ready to take your exam. Now, I will say a couple of things first. The last time I did this episode, I did it specifically about a HIMA, and then I did an episode specifically about AAPC. And every time I do that, I always get a lot of feedback. Blue, why didn't you talk about AAPC? Why didn't you talk about a HIMA? Because I tried to keep these episodes organized, guys, that's why. But since you all seem to want it on one episode, we're going to do it that way. I'm going to go with the HIMA first, okay? Only because there's a lot of different certification exams to go through, okay? Now, keep in mind whether you are sitting for an HIMA exam or AAPC exam, all of these exams are timed. All of these exams are timed. And I did an episode earlier this week about the 90 days prior to sitting for your certification exam, right? But the thing is, when you get to that certification exam day, right, whichever one you're taking, you have to know that you are prepared. And if you have been studying the 20 hours that I have recommended strongly, no one has ever told me, Blue, that 20 hours was a waste of time. No one has ever said that to me. Because if you do that consistently while you're studying for your exam, you will see the results on your exam. The people who try to shortcut their way through the exam are ultimately the ones that end up with the result that they get, right? Because if you're not trying hard to learn this, then it's going to be, what you get, right, on your exam. But I want everybody to be set up for success. This is a very intellectual field that you're getting into. We have to know what doctors know while never having gone to medical school. That is the deal for the medical coders as well as for the degree designation holders, right? So with that said, starting off with AHIMA, if you go to ahima.org, ahima.org, you can see all of their information specifically about the credential exams. Now, I will start off by saying this also. I've been getting one too many questions about this, and so hopefully this episode will clear that up. People have been asking me, hey Blue, can I take the AHIMA exams online at home? No, you have to go to Pearson VUE. Pearson VUE is a third-party testing center that AHIMA has all of their tests administered through, okay? Now, Pearson VUE, they give tests for a lot of different professions. So the people that you see there at the testing site are not always all going to be medical coders. Okay, there's going to be times when you don't see a single medical coder. They're going to be from different other different professions. So try not to pay attention to that. The thing that you have to do is make sure that you have all the materials that you need. For my folks that are taking the medical coding certification exams, the CCS, the CCA, or the Ccs-P, all of your books can be found in the candidate hand guide, the ones that you need. The list is there on the website as well. Whatever year version that you're going to be sitting for, then you make sure that you have the correct books, because if you show up with the incorrect books, you will not be allowed to enter. You will not be allowed to take your medical coding certification exam, and you will forfeit that money. So make sure that you have the correct books, okay? There's nothing worse than that, all right? And I have heard from somebody who said that they showed up with the wrong book. One of their books was wrong, and they were not allowed to enter, and they lost all that money. That's not a good feeling, guys. So make sure that you go to the website and make sure that you have the correct books, all right? Now, for my degree designation folks, the RHIT, the Registered Health Information Technician, or the RHIA, if you were sitting for that, you should know that you do not have to take any books in there with you. It is just you, all right? It is just you. There are no books required for those two certification designations, right? The thing that you have to know when you go to a Pearson VUE testing center, and these are AHIMA's rules, and they want you to make sure that you're prepared when you go to Pearson VUE as well. When you go to Pearson VUE, you cannot have on any jewelry. They will allow a wedding band, but they will not allow you to wear any jewelry at all. No big barrettes in your hair, no belt buckles, no watches. You, of course, can have your glasses, but don't be surprised if they make you take them off so they can look at them as well, okay? So you have to make sure that you don't have anything. No belts, no nothing, no bracelets, no nothing. You can't have anything, all right? It's just got to be you. And if you are the type of person that gets cold, make sure that you are appropriately dressed, but you cannot have on a jacket, okay? That's also something that you got to know. Whenever I go, I'm not really one of those ones that gets really hot or anything like that, so I'm fine. But there's times when it does get kind of cold sometimes in those rooms. So make sure that you dress accordingly. I always go in a polo and jeans. Now, you will never catch me anywhere else in jeans, but when I go to go take my exams, I have done that. But that's about it. I'm there, and it's just me and my books, and I'm there to take the exam, These, like I said, these exams are timed. You do need to watch your time. For my folks sitting for the Ccs-P and the CCA, you got to watch that clock too. And the same thing with the RHIA and the RHIT. But it's the exams, going in, they're going to be structured the way that they are, all right? And if you know that your exam is in 2 parts, you need to make sure that you time yourself to get out of that first section to be able to get into the next section. You need to be able to watch that clock, because there's a lot of people that they will use that first whole part of their exam for the first part, and then they run out of time for the second part, and then all of a sudden, the score isn't very good because they spent too much time on the first part. Whatever question you are stuck on, just make a best choice and move on. That is the biggest bit of advice I can give you guys, because you're not going to fail a test just because you got tripped up on one question, right? Now, you are allowed to miss some questions, not a lot, but you are allowed to miss some. So if there's something that you absolutely know, you have no idea what it is, you make your best choice and you move on. As we all know, there's no flagging on these. You can't flag them to be able to go back. Now, I don't know if that's changed, but from the last that I heard, you cannot flag in order to be able to go back. So you have to answer it and move on. I don't know if it changed though, but like I said, from what I remember the last time is you cannot flag. So just go in there with that mindset that what you choose is what that's what you're gonna be stuck with, okay? Now with the exams, the CCS, the CCA, and CCS-P, it's about 2 minutes per question. I haven't done the math on the RHIT and the RHIA. However, I will say this, for the RHIT, it is 3.5 hours. And for the RHIA, it is 4 hours. Okay, so there's a little bit of a difference. But I want to share with you, if you're taking the RHIT and the RHIA, this is not to scare you, it's to prepare you. I'm all about preparation, guys. And I would rather y'all know the truth, and I would rather y'all be prepared than to go in there like blindly and not really think about how serious this is. For the first time test takers, I have the results pulled up here. For the RHIT, I thought this was interesting because I normally do the ones for the medical coding certifications, and I'll do those in a second. But I really haven't done those for the degree designations, only because mostly my audience is with the medical coding certifications. There is, of course, good things about getting your degree, but I'll talk about that on another episode because it'll go into a whole different thing. Try to stay focused, guys. So for the RHIT, the first time pass rates, right? In 2022, there were 27,989 certified RHIT professionals. In 2022, there were 1,709 first-time test takers. 71% of them passed in the first try. In 2021, there was 1,801, 69% passed on the first try. And in 2020, for the RHIT, there was 1,753, and 74% passed on their first try. So it is possible to pass on your first try. However, these numbers should tell you something, that it's a serious exam. And it gets even more serious when you start looking at the RHIA. Now look at the RHIA scores. Oof. When I saw that, I was like, oh my goodness. So here we go. So in 2022, as of December 31st, 2022, there was 14,770 certified RHIA professionals. In 2022, there was 918 first-time test takers for the RHIA. 58% of them passed on the first try. 58%. In 2021, there was 1,103 and a 59% first-time pass rate. And in 2020, there was 1,044 RHIA first-time test takers. 68% of those passed. So every year is progressively going down. That's how difficult these exams are, guys. And in order to prepare yourself and make sure that you are prepared, you're going to be studying for those 20 hours per week, guys. And you got to be able to fit that time in wherever you can. And I know that a lot of you are juggling families. I know a lot of you are juggling full-time jobs. I know, I've been there, done that. But it's possible. You make time for the things that you want to do, folks. All right. So just make sure that when you go through these things, you know that you're going to be going through your flashcards. Make flashcards or use Quizlet. Do something that's going to get you some portable way of, recalling something. Go through the domains so that way you know where you need to focus in on. If you know that your program was not big on compliance and regulatory, you know that you can look up that stuff easily on CMS. And for those of you who get really overwhelmed with all the things on CMS, I invite you to spend a Saturday poking around on that website. And once you do, you're going to start seeing where everything is at, and that'll make it a lot easier, okay? That's just my advice anyway. Let's go to the CCS, because I know a lot of people always ask me about the CCS. So the CCS, the gold standard of medical coding credentials, because it says that you have mastered the art of medical coding. Because it's very rigorous. It's a tough exam, okay? Again, it says you've mastered. In 2022, there was, as of December 31st, 2022, there was 30,111 certified CCS professionals. And in 2022, there was 2,670 first-time test takers with a 55% pass rate. And in 2021, 2,250 at a 42% first-time pass rate. And in 2020, there was 2,029 first-time test takers, and 73% of them passed on the first try. So again, these exams are nothing to sniff at. I mean, these are really tough exams. The CCA, in 2022, there was 7,760 certified CCA professionals. In 2022, there was 2,261 first-time test takers for the CCA. 70% of them passed. Okay, pretty good. And in 2021, there was 2,104, 74% pass rate. And in 2020, there was 1,727 at an 80% pass rate. So it goes to show you again how studying can really show in the numbers, okay? The Ccs-P, there was as of December 31st, 2022, there were 4,283 certified CCS professionals. Of course, I am one of them. And of course with the CCS as well. And in 2022, there was 282 first-time test takers at a 35% pass rate. And in 2021, there was 260 and with a 42% pass rate. Okay. And in 2020, there was 292 first-time test takers for the Ccs-P, and 63% of them passed on the first try. These exams are tough, and that cannot be overstated enough. And how do you get past the toughness of those exams, the rigorousness of those exams? By studying, my people, by studying 20 hours per week. I posted the what is it? The study schedule. I don't know why I blanked. The study schedule in the community tab. So be sure to check that out. But when you go to take these exams at the Pearson VUE Center, you make sure that you have gotten a good night's rest. Hopefully you're not trying to cram at the last minute, and you stop studying 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days. I say a week, but people hem and haw about that. So 2 to 3 days at least. No books, no nothing. Don't look at anything. Relax, be with your family, be with your pets. And that way when you get in there that day of your test, you're ready to rock and roll. Because trust me, you're going to be tired and you're going to be hungry when you leave out of there, because the time just goes by so fast, and then the adrenaline's pumping already and you're just trying to like focus. But don't let anything distract you when you're at the test center, all right? You will be in there and you'll have your cubicle area, and they will allow you, sometimes they will allow you to, use the seat next to you for your books, or, that you may have to stack your books on top of each other and then work that way because the cubicle space is small. Expect it, guys. There's no use in complaining about it either. A lot of people say, well, I couldn't do that, that's why I couldn't pass. No, you couldn't pass because of some other stuff. It wasn't because of the area and the location, all right, and how it is. Do I wish it was a little bit bigger to use? Absolutely, but that's just not the way that it works, okay? So make sure that you have spent a sufficient enough time with those books if you're taking any of the medical coding certification ones, so that way you know and you're familiar with where everything is. It's the people who are not familiar with their books, it's going to show on those exam days, because either it's going to come out good or it's going to come out barely, or it's not going to come out at all, okay? So the more you know about your books, the better off you are, all right? So I will say that about that, and with that, I will go on to talk about AAPC. So for my AAPC folks, I know that things are a little bit different with AAPC. You are allowed to take your test at home. They do have the online testing available. They do, some areas they say that they don't have in-person testing because they can't get like a space or something like that. So it just really depends on where you are. If you're able to take the test in person, I personally recommend that you go in person rather than do the online testing, because I've heard too many horror stories about the online testing. And to me, if it is the day of my certification exam, I am not going to want to have any stressors around me. I want to go to a place. It is your responsibility to have the computer on and everything, and if for me to be able to be here and go, rather than it's all on me. And now what if the camera's not the right way, and what if it's not looking at the desk, and what if they can't see me, and what if something, okay, no. no. That's why I always say, if you're going to take the test, go in person. I've had people who ask me, I don't know why you ask me, because you want to do your own thing. They've asked me before, Bleu, what do I do? Go in person. Oh, I think I'm going to take it at home. Okay. And then what happened? They failed. Well, okay, you failed. Well, I told you to take it at the place. Well, they made me so nervous. Go to the place so that way you can be there. And I think, to me, it's better because, again, you're in their environment and you can leave whatever's at home, and you can focus on whatever you got in that test room, okay, when you go to that place. So that's what I say. Now, the other thing is this, AAPC, of course, changed their the amount of questions they have. Now it's 100 questions and it's 4 hours, which is more digestible, than what it used to be before, I think. So I think that's great. It's fantastic that they do that, because at that point, when you're having a longer test and it's more questions, you're not really getting a good gauge of people's knowledge, because people are just trying to hurry up and rush and, do all those things because they're just trying to get done with the test. It's 2 minutes, 40 seconds per question when you're taking an AAPC exam, because of course it is 4 hours and it's 100 questions. So again, it's just a good way to, be there and be present and watch your time. And again, if you are using your books and you've been using them appropriately and studying the 20 hours, I will never get off that 20-hour campaign. And if you didn't study that much and, you still were able to pass it. That's wonderful for you. I'm glad for you. But there's a lot of people who struggle with, that anxiety of not really knowing or understanding what they're doing. And I think it's better to be more prepared for the exam and practicing the actual looking up of the codes. That's very important. Knowing your medical terminology is really important too, because those are the things that, employers will look for. But if you are just trying to let me just barely pass this test, or, if I fail it, oh well, I'll just pay to take it again. Don't have that attitude, guys. Don't. Somebody wrote me the other night and asked me, is it possible to pass the Ccs-P, CPC on the first try? Sorry, guys. Is it possible to pass the CPC on the first try? Yes. If you're studying, and it's not about all hoping and wishing that you're going to pass, right? You have to be a part of the plan. You have to actually be practicing looking up the codes. You have to be practicing looking things up and getting that practice in, so that way when you get to the exam room, it's not going to be so foreign to you. You're going to be able to relax. You're going to be able to, okay, I know what I'm doing. I've got this. And when you have that confidence, you can do anything, guys. You really can. But it goes back to you and what you plan on doing. And yes, there's times when you get tired of studying. You don't want to study. I understand that, okay? I've been there, done that too. As much as I love studying, there's times when I'm just like, I'm so over this. I want to just get this done and over with. But when you are investing as much as you're investing right now to get a career that's going to take you so far, if you let it, it's going to take a little bit of sacrifice and a little bit of uncomfortable feeling, of a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of, fear, a little bit of, worry and all this other stuff. But start believing in yourself by practicing and going over it over and over again. You'll get there, guys. You will. But again, it all goes back to you and how much are you willing to invest in your own future. Because it's your future, not anybody else's. It's yours. I'm just saying. So, with that said, make sure that you rest. Eat before you go and take your exam. Don't eat too much, though. Don't be too jittery. And, and by the time you know it, you'll be leaving out of there with your certification. But make sure that you've studied. Make sure that you rest. Make sure you watch your time. And you do all those things, and we'll see you on the other side. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. But best of luck to you out there. Let me know where you are on your journey in the comments. Let me know, are you about to take your test? Did you take your test? How did you do? So I'm going to wrap this one up, but thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.